I just did this post yesterday, and by the time I had uploaded it, she had already done an update. I didn't know about it, so I'm going to do the update now. Anyways, I'll just speed run through this because people tend to like it if I just go through the post, just in case they didn't see it yesterday. She says, my ex boyfriend ejaculated in my bed without me knowing. Am I overreacting? Ew, girl, no. Even based off the title alone, you're not overreacting. She says, hey, all. So I dated this guy who happens to be my brother in law's best friend of 13 years for a few months. It didn't work out and we broke up 3 months ago, but we're cordial and friendly. He's my neighbor and we still have ties through my sister and her husband who are happily married. He's watched my dog before, usually for a few hours or until I get home at night. This past weekend, I was away to go to a convention, and he offered to watch my dog for me. I live alone in an apartment. I told him he could stay over the couple of nights if it's easier, but he told me he'll just sleep at home since he's literally a 2-minute walk away. Last night, I get home, unpack, get ready for bed. Once I get in bed, I noticed my dog sniffing around a spot. And when I looked closer, it was a discolored stain. I smelled it to see if maybe my dog peed, and it was overwhelmingly strong and distinctly baby batter. He ejaculated in her bed. Well, we already knew that because of the title. I brought it up to him and he apologized. He told me he'd buy me a new comforter and he didn't realize anything was there. I asked him why he'd do that, and he said he was in my room trying to sleep the first night and thought of me. I also asked him why he wouldn't just go home if he lives right next door, but he said he intentionally wanted to do it in my room because he was thinking about us and how we used to be in my bed together. He also begged me not to tell my sister or anyone. At this point, I feel kind of violated. I trusted him in my home without me to watch my dog and wasn't expecting that. I'm very taken aback and confused and have another trip coming up at the end of the month, which he was supposed to watch my dog, but now I don't think that that's a good idea. I don't know if I'm overreacting. Obviously, no, you are not overreacting. Here's the first update. I asked for more detail on what exactly happened leading up to that. He said he was sitting on my PC chair and he was thinking about us being in my bedroom together, and it happened from there. He said he was trying to sleep the first night and he couldn't, so he spent the nights at home when I initially asked if he stayed any of the nights. I don't know if those were two separate instances. Update number 2. He admitted that he was angry after reading I had sex with someone else in my ChatGPT history when he was helping fix my computer about a month and a half after we broke up. I mainly forgave him because he's in my social circle and I felt bad he saw that. He said he felt vindictive and slept with an escort to try to get even with me after reading through my chat histories. He said he couldn't accept I slept with someone else and he had been ruminating about it every day in hurt and anger. For context, when we broke up, he told me I couldn't find better than him, so I wanted to move on. I let a lot slide, and I'm just so much more disgusted now. Apparently, he wanted to feel positive feelings after being in all of the emotional pain I brought him through my actions. So that's why he did what he did. But it honestly just seems like it was more out of spite. He also said that I need to take accountability for why the way I made him feel drove him to do the things he did. What? This really caught me off guard. I thought we were completely chill after we talked and were on cordial terms. I had no idea this sort of anger had been brewing the entire time beneath it all. I'm at a loss for words. I'm confused on how she has any kind of responsibility or needs to take any kind of accountability for his feelings, and they have been broken up for a month and a half. Where do they get this stuff? Like, is she just not supposed to move on? This is the reason why these people will continue to be lonelier and why they deserve their loneliness. They have earned this loneliness because this is not normal. You jack off in somebody's bed because you're upset about something a month and a half ago. Oh my gosh, these people are confusing. So that is the second update that she has posted. Y'all let me know what you think about this. I'm not diving into the comments. I was just doing this one mainly for update purposes. I want to remind us all that being single is better than this. Being single is better than this. This woman posted in the Am I the A-hole subreddit. And what I say about women posting in the Am I the A-hole subreddit, they're simply looking for validation for feeling normal human emotions. She says, my dad died. My significant other is mad. He has to make dinner. Y'all, I am already ready to divorce this man for her. But let's look at the post. Obviously, no, she's not the a-hole. She says, after moving to our home state nearly a year ago, after 7 years of my significant other complaining how our new state sucked and he missed home, I've been working full-time in a demanding job I do really love. Unfortunately, significant other has been unemployed for over a year, applying for only about 15 jobs in that time. We both chose to move home to be near our parents, and that's been mostly positive. But I lost my stepmother in August, requiring I drive to another state to take care of a Grey Gardens type of situation. I thought that was the most traumatic things I'd have to do this year. A few weeks later, however, my dad was hospitalized, and I tried to be at the hospital as much as I could, considering I was new at my job and I had used all my leave with my stepmother's house. My dad and she were still married, but he'd moved back to our state for health reasons. She refused many times to leave with him. The day after my dad was released from the hospital against family wishes, he died. I came over to make him soup and found he had passed. My significant other has largely been supportive, but he's repeatedly been irritated that he has to make dinner weeknights as I work full-time and try to address two people's estates, no wills, plus grief. When he recently made an insensitive comment about having to make dinner part of the week, I asked him to consider that this was insensitive considering all that was going on. Additionally, I made all dinners for our family while working full-time and being the primary caregiver for our son for 12 years. When I shared this, he immediately fell into a cycle where he shuts down, shuts me out, gets defensive, then reactive, then depressive. It's what's always kept me from being honest with him. I had to look up LSS because I didn't know what that meant. But LSS stands for long story short. She says, long story short, I kept asking him to talk to me. For days, I acknowledged how he must be hurting too. I thanked him for everything he did around the house. I knew something was bothering him and asked him to talk with me. After a day of needing to report my dad's death to creditors and my son at dinner cutting me off when I suggested better ways of communicating about wanting rides, they both snapped at me and shut me out. I got up, put on a coat, and went for a ride, and I didn't take my phone. An hour later, I got home and sat with my son outside, and we talked and apologized and listened to each other. When I tried the same with significant other, he was immediately cold and defensive. No matter what I said, he responded that what I said hadn't happened and that I was being mean. I asked him to then share something with me he felt I hadn't heard instead of just negating what I said. That's so effed up to put pressure on me, was the response. I pointed out I was crying and mourning and asked why he was so cold. He asked why I didn't care he had to make dinner. As with all conflicts, this is a simplified version. He is a good person, but we almost got divorced 4 years ago because of how his undealt with trauma meant that he didn't ever want to talk. Why can't we just act like everything is fine and fell into reactive patterns? I'm in a hotel now. He is not someone to ever go after anyone, so it's not for drama. I'm an oldest daughter. I know what taking on a lot with little support means, but I'm completely shocked by this, being told that I'm selfish because when I cook on weekends, it's just pasta, roasted butternut squash, homemade sauce, slow simmered. Am I insane? She says, am I, a 49-year-old woman who has been checking on everyone and working full time, the worst? Did I today finally yell that it would be cool if my significant other applied to more jobs and get a therapist per our agreement when we decided not to divorce, and to not drink so much he passes out on the couch every night, because all I want is to make the people I love feel loved. But now I just feel insane and alone. I keep trying to reach out to him to support home in his own frustration and grief, but he shuts me out. Now I'm drinking wine in a plastic glass in a motel because of it. He knows I'm barely functioning. Am I the a-hole for saying he should leave when I get back? Rest in peace, my dad, a badass, and my best friend. She's going through so much, but it sounds like her insignificant other is basically a toddler. Like, why are you needing a cookie because you made dinner? I am honestly disgusted at the level of like where these men's heads are. Like, why would you say this type of thing to a woman who is grieving and who is dealing with so much stuff? Okay, cool. You got yourself dinner. Like, you're an adult and you're feeding yourself. These people make my brain. I want to divorce this man, but let's go ahead and check out some of the comments. Stay Busy says, reread this and pretend it was someone you cared about asking. You know it's time to leave him. If not for you, for your son, he needs to know that his dad is not what a good partner looks like. And then the OP says, damn. And then she says, and by that I mean true things being said. True things being said is absolutely right. You do not want your son to see that as an example of how to be in a relationship. This is not a healthy way. This is not a healthy role model for relationships at all. Madame Kitsune says, honey, he's an alcoholic hobosexual. He is living off of you and doesn't do F all. He whines and bitches about having to make dinner. Well, yeah, bro. When you have no job, you do housework and cook when your spouse is working. That's what happens. And apply to 15 jobs in a year. I can apply to 15 jobs in a damn day. He should be treating finding a job like a full-time job, but no, he won't. Put him out. And then she says, thank you forever for hobosexual. Now, this is a 49-year-old woman who had not heard the term hobosexual. And the reason why I continue to repeat these terms over and over and over is because it needs to get into our everyday language. And I know that we say it quite a bit, but you do not know where somebody else is in this journey to decenter and deconstruct from many of the things that we are socialized to do and be. So we're going to continue to say hobosexual. We're going to say labor digger, because a labor digger is a person that is attempting to get women's time, energy, and resources. They want our labor for as little as possible. They are some pimps. They are some parasites. They attach and they suck women's life force. That's the reason why some of these women look like a shell of themselves. They look like they have been through war or something by the time they are ready to divorce these men. And that's the reason why some of them have such dramatic glow ups on the other side of divorce, because now they don't have a parasite sucking the life force from them. Electronic Bug says, oh, you work full time while juggling the grief from the loss of your dad. How could you expect me to cook dinner for us when I'm so busy being an unemployed man-child? And then Static Lantern says this, haha, you're grieving, handling estates, working full time, and being met with utter selfishness. He's unemployed, contributes little, and complains about making dinner while you bury your father. The audacity is staggering. You're not insane. You're exhausted from carrying the mental load for everyone. And then the person at the bottom just reminds everyone that he is also an alcoholic. He is a man child with an alcohol problem. And how the hell is he buying alcohol? Like, cut that mess off. Cut it off. Anyways, y'all let me know what you think of this one. Now I want to take a moment to celebrate this milestone. I hit 90,000 subscribers on YouTube. I am extremely ecstatic about this community that we have built from the ground up. If you are watching me over on TikTok, I suggest you go over to YouTube because I'm going to lose the international girlies once TikTok becomes TikTok America. So you need to go over there and follow me. Plus, I don't put the same things over here on TikTok that I put on YouTube because I get called a bully over on TikTok when a lot more things can go on YouTube. So go ahead and follow me, join the conversation. Let me know what you think about all of this. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.